I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. Why should I blame her that she filled my days with misery, or that she would of late have taught to ignorant men most violent ways, or hurled the little streets upon the great, had they but courage equal to desire? What could have made her peaceful, with a mind that nobleness made simple as a fire, with beauty like a tightened bow, a kind that is not natural in an age like this, being high and solitary and most stern? Why, what could she have done, being what she is? Was there another Troy for her to burn? The trees are in their autumn beauty. The woodland paths are dry. Under the October twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. Upon the brimming water among the stones are 59 swans. The 19th autumn has come upon me since I first made my count. I saw, before I had well finished, all suddenly mount and scatter, wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. I have looked upon those brilliant creatures, and now my heart is sore. All's changed since I, hearing at twilight the first time on this shore the bell beat of their wings above my head, trod with a lighter tread. Unwearied still, lover by lover, they paddle in the cold, companionable streams or climb the air. Their hearts have not grown old. Passion or conquest, wander where they will, attend upon them still. But now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Among what rushes will they build? By what lake's edge or pool they light men's eyes? When I awake someday to find they have flown away. There is gray in your hair. Young men no longer suddenly catch their breath when you are passing. But maybe some old gaffer mutters a blessing, because it was your prayer recovered him upon the bed of death. For your soul's sake, that all heart's-ache have known and given to others all heart's-ache, from meager girlhood's putting on burdensome beauty, For your soul's sake, heaven has put away the stroke of her doom. So great her portion in that peace you make by merely walking in a room. Your beauty can but leave among us vague memories, nothing but memories. A young man, when the old men are done talking, will say to an old man, "Tell me of that lady the poet stubborn with his passion sang us, when age might well have chilled his blood." Vague memories, nothing but memories. But in the grave all shall be renewed. The certainty that I shall see that lady leaning or standing or walking in the first loveliness of womanhood, and with the fervor of my youthful eyes, has set me muttering like a fool. You are more beautiful than anyone, and yet your body had a flaw. Your small hands were not beautiful, and I am afraid that you will run and paddle to the wrist in that mysterious, always brimming lake, where those that have obeyed the holy law paddle and are Leave unchanged the hands that I have kissed, for old sake's sake. Last stroke of midnight dies. All day in the one chair, from dream to dream and rhyme to rhyme, I have ranged in rambling talk with an image of air. Vague memories, nothing but memories. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born? That is no country for old men. The young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song, the salmon falls, the mackerel-crowded seas, fish, flesh, or fowl, commend all summer long whatever is begotten, born, and dies. Caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of unaging intellect. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless soul clap its hands and sing, and louder sing for every tatter in its mortal dress. Nor is there singing school, but studying monuments of its own magnificence, and therefore I have sailed the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. O sages, standing in God's holy fire, as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, burn in a gyre, and be the singing masters of my soul. Consume my heart away, sick with desire and fastened to a dying animal. It knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. Once out of nature, I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing, but such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make of hammered gold and gold enameling to keep a drowsy emperor awake, or set upon a golden bough to sing to lords and ladies of Byzantium of what is past, or passing, or to come. I summon to the winding ancient stair. Set all your mind upon the steep ascent, upon the broken, crumbling battlement, upon the breathless, starlit air, upon the star that marks the hidden pole. Fix every wandering thought upon that quarter where all thought is done. Who can distinguish darkness from the soul? The consecrated blade upon my knees is Sato's ancient blade, still as it was, still razor keen, still like a looking glass, unspotted by the centuries. That flowering, silken old embroidery, torn from some court lady's dress, and round the wooden scabbard bound and wound, can, tattered, still protect, faded, adorn. Why should the imagination of a man long past his prime remember things that are emblematical of love and war? Think of ancestral night that can, if but imagination, scorn the earth, and intellect its wandering to this and that and t'other thing, deliver from the crime of death and birth. Monteschigi, third of his family, fashioned it 500 years ago. About it lie flowers from I know not what embroidery, hearts purple, and all these I set for emblems of the day against the tower emblematical of the night, and claim, as by a soldier's right, a charter to commit the crime once more. Such fullness in that quarter overflows and falls into the basin of the mind that man is stricken deaf and dumb and blind. For intellect no longer knows is from the ought, or knower from the known. That is to say, ascends to heaven. Only the dead can be forgiven. But when I think of that, my tongue's a stone. A living man is blind and drinks his drop. What matter if the ditches are impure? What matter if I live it all once more? Endure that toil of growing up, the ignominy of boyhood, the distress of boyhood changing into man, the unfinished man and his pain brought face to face with his own clumsiness, the finished man among his enemies. How in the name of heaven can he escape that defiling and disfigured shape the mirror of malicious eyes casts upon his eyes, until at last he thinks that shape must be his shape? And what's the good of an escape if honor find him in the wintry blast? I am content to live it all again, and yet again, if it be life to pitch into the frog spawn of a blind man's ditch, a blind man battering blind men, or into that most fecund ditch of all, the folly that man does or must suffer if he woos a proud woman not kindred of his soul. I am content to follow to its source every event in action or in thought, measure the lot, forgive myself the lot, when such as I cast out remorse. So great a sweetness flows into the breast, we must laugh and we must sing. We are blessed by everything. Everything we look upon is blessed. The unpurged images of day recede. The emperor's drunken soldiery are abed. Night resonance recedes, night walker's song after great cathedral gong. A starlit or a moonlit dome disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. Before me floats an image, man or shade, shade more than man, more image than a shade. For a Hades bobbin bound in mummy cloth may unwind the winding path. A mouth that has no moisture and no breath, breathless mouths may summon. I hail the superhuman. I call it death in life and life in death. Miracle, bird or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork. Planted on the starlit golden bough, can like the cocks of Hades crow, or by the moon embittered, scorn aloud in glory of changeless metal, common bird or petal, and all complexities of mire or blood. At midnight on the emperor's pavement flit flames that no faggot feeds, nor steel has lit, nor storm disturbs, flames begotten of flame, where blood-begotten spirits come and all complexities of fury leave, dying into a dance, an agony of trance, an agony of flame that cannot singe a sleeve. Astraddle on the dolphins' mire and blood, spirit after spirit, the smithies break the flood, the golden smithies of the emperor. Marbles of the dancing floor break bitter furies of complexity, those images that yet fresh images beget, that dolphin torn, that gong tormented sea. I have heard that hysterical women say they are sick of the palette and fiddle bow, of poets that are always gay. For everybody knows, or else should know, that if nothing drastic is done, aeroplane and zeppelin will come out, pitch like King Billy, bomb balls in until the town lie beaten flat. All perform their tragic play. There struts Hamlet, there is Lear, that's Ophelia, that's Cordelia. Yet they, should the last scene be there, the great stage curtain about to drop, if worthy their prominent part in the play, do not break up their lines to weep. They know that Hamlet and Lear are gay, gaiety transfiguring all that dread. All men have aimed at, found, and lost, black out, heaven blazing into the head, tragedy wrought to its uttermost. Though Hamlet rambles and Lear rages, and all the drop scenes drop at once upon 100,000 stages, it cannot grow by an inch or an ounce. On their own feet they came, or on shipboard, camelback, horseback, assback, muleback, old civilizations put to the sword. Then they and their wisdom went to wrack. No handiwork of Callimachus, who handled marble as if it were bronze, made draperies that seemed to rise when sea wind swept the corner, stands. His long lamp chimney, shaped like the stem of a slender palm, stood but a day. All things fall and are built again, and those that build them again are gay. Two Chinamen, behind them a third, are carved in Lapis Lazuli. Over them flies a long-legged bird, a symbol of longevity. The third, doubtless a serving man, carries a musical instrument. Every discoloration of the stone, every accidental crack or dent seems a watercourse or an avalanche, or lofty slope where it still snows, though doubtless plum or cherry branch sweetens the little halfway house those Chinamen climb towards, and I delight to imagine them seated there, on the mountain and the sky, on all the tragic scene they stare. One asks for mournful melodies. Accomplished fingers begin to play. Their eyes, mid many wrinkles, their eyes, their ancient glittering eyes, are gay. Because I am mad about women, I am mad about the hills, said that wild old wicked man who travels where God wills. Not to die on the straw at home, those hands to close these eyes, that is all I ask, me dear, from the old man in the skies. Daybreak and a candle end. Kind are all your words, me dear, do not the rest withhold. Who can know the year, me dear, when an old man's blood grows cold? I have what no young man can have because he loves too much. Words I have that can pierce the heart, but what can he do but touch? Daybreak and a candle end. Then said she to that wild old man, his stout stick under his hand, love to give or to withhold is not at my command. I gave it all to an older man, that old man in the skies. Hands that are busy with his beads can never close those eyes. Daybreak and a candle end. Go your ways, oh, go your ways. I choose another mark. Girls down on the seashore who understand the dark. Bawdy talk for the fishermen, a dance for the fisher lads. When dark hangs upon the water, they turn down their beds. Daybreak and a candle end. A young man in the dark am I, but a wild old man in the light that can make a cat laugh, or can touch by mother wit things hid in our marrow bones from time long passed away, hid from all those warty lads that by their bodies lay. Daybreak and a candle end. All men live in suffering, I know as few can know, whether they take the upper road or stay content on the low. Rower bent in his rowboat, or weaver bent at his loom, horseman erect upon horseback, or child hid in the womb. Daybreak and a candle end. That some stream of lightning from the old man in the skies can burn out that suffering no right taught man denies. But a coarse old man am I choose the second best. I forget it all a while upon a woman's breast. Daybreak and a candle end. 'Tis There all the golden codgers lay, there the silver dew, and the great water sighed for love, and the wind sighed too. Man picker Niamh leant and sighed by Oisin on the grass. There sighed amid his choir of love tall Pythagoras. Plotinus came and looked about the salt flakes on his breast, and having stretched and yawned a while, lay sighing like the rest. Straddling each a dolphin's back and steadied by a fin, those innocents relive their death, their wounds open again. The ecstatic waters laugh because their cries are sweet and strange. Through their ancestral patterns dance, and the brute dolphins plunge until in some cliff-sheltered bay where wades the choir of love, proffering its sacred laurel crowns, they pitch their burdens off. Slim adolescence that a nymph has stripped, Peleus on Thetis stares. Her limbs are delicate as an eyelid. Love has blinded him with tears, but Thetis' belly listens. Down the mountain walls from where Pan's cavern is, intolerable music falls. Foul goathead, brutal arm appear, belly, shoulder, bum, flash fish-like. Nymphs and satyrs copulate in the foam. Why should not old men be mad? Some have known a likely lad that had a sound fly-fisher's wrist turn to a drunken journalist. A girl that knew all Dante once lived to bear children to a dunce. A Helen of social welfare dream, climb on a wagonette to scream. Some think it a matter of course that chance should starve good men and bad advance. That if their neighbours figured plain, as though upon a lighted screen, no single story would they find of an unbroken, happy mind, a finish worthy of the start. Young men know nothing of this sort. Observant old men know it well. And when they know what old books tell, and that no better can be had, know why an old man should be mad. A man that had 6 mortal wounds, a man violent and famous, strode among the dead. Eyes stared out of the branches and were gone. Then certain shrouds that muttered head to head came and were gone. He leant upon a tree as though to meditate on wounds and blood. A shroud that seemed to have authority among those bird-like things came and let fall a bundle of linen. Shrouds by 2 and 3 came creeping up because the man was still. And thereupon that linen carrier said, "Your life can grow much sweeter if you will obey our ancient rule and make a shroud. Mainly because of what we only know, the rattle of those arms makes us afraid. We thread the needle's eyes, and all we do, all must together do." That done, the man took up the nearest and began to sew. "Now must we sing, and sing the best we can, but first you must be told our character. Convicted cowards all, by kindred slain, or driven from home and left to die in fear. They sang, but had nor human tunes nor words, though all was done in common as before. They had changed their throats, and had the throats of birds. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of the linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always, night and day, I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway, or on the pavements grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core.